Wow. There's not much, is there? That's full extension.
I reckon he's gonna get dipped out.
That's what my passenger front wheel is going to go into, so we do need to go around this. We have a good look at rear shock lengths. Check out how good these 35s look. Can't wait to air them down and get them on the dirt. This episode, we compare the 33s to my new 35s. Off-road, comparing clearances, and most importantly, gearing. First half of this video will be footage on the 33s. We also have a close look at rear shock length options. Hello, my boy. Here at Nick's, getting the 285-7516 Kumo MT71s fitted. We fit up a genuine bar so we can get a winch in there. I'm gonna go down to 18 PSI and see how they feel.
Super sloppy.
I'm gonna be able to back.
You can, yeah. But I wouldn't dig the hole any deeper.
Look at that
What's stopping me?
Bull bar.
Bull bar stopped me.
Yeah. And traction.
The two problems we found early on, a 9-inch grinder helping with one, and later on you'll see a bigger shoe. Hopefully that helps with the traction side of things. Come up to a spot where the road's washed away there. I'm not going to fit. That's what my passenger front wheel is going to go into. Looks like they've made a track around it. It's 18 PSI. So I think that's ample bagging for such a strong sidewall. This is a pretty impressive climb, this. So on the 33s, the gearing in low range doesn't feel too much different. Still plenty of control on the throttle at low RPM. So on road with the 285s, the speedo is now spot on 100%. No real loss of power. Maybe a touch at top end. When I'm towing, going up hills, I will gear down a touch sooner than with the normal tyre. This track doesn't look like it's been driven in a long time, and probably not the ideal setting to be putting a $100,000 truck in. But a tyre test is a tyre test. So we made it through that section unscathed, and now
I
need momentum just to get past this little section.
Send it. I shouldn't tell you that.
I reckon he's gonna get dipped out.
Yeah. That's a good line there now.
No.
You got mad traction on that left hand side. You need to get that wheel down. Let's turn the wheel out. Right hand down.
I'm trying to miss this mud here. That's
Yep.
not...
Yep. Now come up, now to me. That's it. Drive. It might limo in. Yep. Nah, go again, one more.
This will be right now.
Yeah, it should be good now. Yep, you're good now.
So looking back at this test, it wasn't the tyre here that let us down. For mine, it was the actual tyre size. The 285 just didn't cut it with such a big rut in the middle. I think that front passenger wheel was off the ground for quite a lot of the time. We needed bigger. What was that prediction again?
I reckon he's gonna get dipped out.
Spot on, my boy. Look. And oh, look. Yeah, look, it's the old 79 diff center and spring hangers. Nasty descent here. Hopefully the sidebar and brush bar don't come into play here. Oh, watch the door. Oh, I think the horn pad on this steering wheel must be getting bigger. Again, descending down. I think the gearing is acceptable with the 285. Only just lightly touching the brakes here and there. Now, in a previous video, you may remember me having removed the sway bar and I was getting a fair bit more droop. Now, in the test that I'm referring to, I did gain 40 odd mil of droop with a longer shock. These were the Bilsteins that Cal Off-Road sent up. Back to the 79's Kryptonite.
Let me just have a look on your left hand side with him.
Again, not necessarily the Kumos that let us down there.
Your hangers were dragging all the way from down there, all the way through there, and you just had to plough your way through that stuff.
Now, we did over a couple of thousand kilometres on these 285s in mud and rock, and I loved how noise free they were on the highway. Gearing wise, only the slightest bit of power loss felt at top end. Mainly, like I said, towing and on some of the bigger hills, gearing back to fourth sooner than on the factory tyre. After a week in that muddy, wet country, a good half hour on the gurney, and I'm still trying to get the mud out of all the nooks and crannies. Also in detail in an earlier video where we came in here. If you like playing in the mud, then expect to be in here straight after. If you expect the already vulnerable handbrake to still be operational. So let's have a look at the rear shock lengths now. Even though it seems we lost the pair that Cal Off-Road sent us. Remember a couple of videos back, we donated these Bilsteins to Bullet Truck. A really good shock, they worked awesome at Woodpecker. But they were supposed to be for the back of this truck. Wow. There's not much, is there? That's full extension. So we have a length here of 680 center to center. Yes, we did get some more Kumo MT71s. And yes, the Neg 55 rears correct the track width for now. Actually a bit of a punish to get Bullet's front shocks off. But the rear of the dual cab, on the other hand, maybe not so difficult. Now let's see what these dual cab ones are. So these exact shock were the ones I was running on the back of the grey truck. And they were Bullet's fronts for quite some time. See how this one sizes up. So we've got almost 740. So that's a big difference. With the old ones completely out of the truck, we were able to get a more accurate measurement, and it reads 660 center to center. So we can go away with these longer ranchos and we can take our measurements. They did suffer under Bullet, and Adam repaired the pair of them before going into the back of the 106 dual cab, as we kept the longer Bilstein ones in the front of the comp truck. So these are the ones that we pulled out at 660 center. The ones I bought back in 2016 with just a plain 2-inch, not a GVM upgrade spring. We're looking at 630, and the genuine ones are 620. And then obviously you've got the Bilsteins that are longer again. So I'm sure we can use the brand new factory ones on the back of the dual cab. So they're probably 20 mil too short for us, but they're brand new, and at the moment we're not wheeling the dual cab much. So we'll get these in so that we can drive it on the road. So just arrived at the air down spot, and as you can see here, now that wheel's still on the ground. Let's have a measure. Just as an example of these longer shocks. So we'll line it up there with the center of the top, come down to the bottom, and we're at 690. So we're already longer than those shocks that we took off, and that tire is still on the ground. Now while we are on 35s and I do have the longest shock in, I'm still not happy that the bottom of the shock is lower than the diff center. I mean, I'm still vulnerable there of hitting rocks. So with these, the 35, 12.5 17s, we're going to be going down to 18 PSI. Now that's the same as we had the Kumos on the 285, 75, 16s on the factory alloys. So that's 18 pound, we'll do that all round. Gives us the opportunity now also to see that we're not touching the front or the back. Now this is the 3-inch coil with a caster correction bush on the arm. but I haven't trimmed anything here and I haven't tapped anything back here, except removing the mud flap. It's as it would be. Deflated the airbags. Now this isn't going to be a big session. I just want to get some measurements, have a little wheel, feel what the low range feels like. Nicholas will have a little RC session. He's got a couple of cars here. Although as you can see here, his first little launch that he sends it off this ledge. And have a look at that driver's front wheel. You've definitely broken the plastic cast there. But I'm pretty sure CV's broken too. There's your braking. They should have two little tabs that hold into there. Gone. And our little bag of goodies. Replacement CVs. And in this graveyard of RC stuff, we should have a diff that we can take some plastics off, the end cap. There we have it, that looks like them there. The knuckle fitted, and I actually found a second-hand axle. So they're the tabs I was talking about, and they slot into there. All right, it steers. Just accelerate a little bit, make sure the CV's not clicking. Turn a little bit right, other way. Okay, perfect. Bit of gas. All right, done. I think it's fine. Spinning, turning, all good?
Yep.
While the gearing does feel a lot higher in low range with the 35s as opposed to the 285s. I mean, the 285s on the road, the speedo was spot on 100%, whereas with the 35s, I'm actually over. So 90 is now, you know, nearly 100, so it's almost 10% different. So yes, in low range, it does feel quite tall. But I mean, for touring, you're not going to pull a caravan through some of this stuff in any case. So to have the height, and I mean, we're going to be doing a lot of sand driving and creek crossings over the break that we're going to be taking it on. So I don't feel that I'm going to suffer too badly. There's not going to be a lot of low rock crawling like this stuff. So we're in search of a little obstacle that's going to pick a back wheel up, preferably facing downhill. Grab the camera and go at the back. Yeah. Show the big wheel there.
Giant wheel lift.
Big wheel lift. So I've got it centered on the bolt up top. We measure 720, so that's 20 mil shy. So the only other way I'll get a bit more droop potentially is undo that saddle bolt there. And maybe this one here. But I'm happy with that, and the reason I'm happy is because we got rid of those short shocks and we're getting a little bit of droop for free basically. We'll back it back up here, and also just to report, there's no scrubbage on that front tyre to the guard, which is a good sign. So in an earlier video I did at the beginning of the year, if you remember, I mucked around with front shock lengths with the sway bar off. And the shocks that we're running now, we do get a little bit more droop. With the sway bar on, not so much, but with the sway bar off, it's like 40 mil. But the trips that we're going to be doing at the end of the year, we're going to be towing the Jayco. So I always tour with the sway bar hooked up. Shock lengths are so important. So I'll leave this little test drive a little bit disappointed, to be honest. So even in this easy sort of terrain, I felt like the car was going to stall or I had to ride the clutch. I really do feel that the grey truck back then did have a lower first low range. And I know that too because we drove with a couple of the newer modelled 79s. And years ago we did the comparison with the pre-DPF and the DPF model, both on 35s. So for me, the 35s on the current gearing just don't gel. So on the 35s, for me to comfortably put my hand up to do a trip like this, I would want reduction gears. So what do? You go back to a 285 so that you've got some better gearing, but then you lose the height and you get caught up in any case. And this is the reason why I chose the portal axle build for the next truck. So just another little test too, which we'll be doing up north. We'll be coming on and off the beach with limited time with the big tides over Christmas. We're doing about 90 on the highway. We're still on 18 pounds. It's not ideal to be doing that. At least I know I can. There's no wobbles, it's steering good. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. The difference between the 33s, the 35s, some tips on shock lengths, and as always,
Thanks for watching.